Good day, sir. My name is Ronan M. Peterbo, and this is my midterm project in protection of the marine environment. Annex 1. Prevention of pollution by oil. Oil tankers transport some 2,900 million tons of crude oil and oil products every year around the world by sea. Most of the time, oil is transported quietly and safely. Measures introduced by IMO have helped ensure that the majority of oil tankers are safely built and operated and are constructed to reduce the amount of oil spilled in the event of an accident. Operational pollution, such as from routine tank cleaning operations, has also been cut. The operational and construction regulations introduced by MARPOL, which entered into force in 1983, have been a success with statistics from reputable industry and independent bodies showing that these regulations, along with other safety-related regulations such as the introduction of mandatory traffic separation schemes and international standards for seafarer training, have been instrumental in the continuous decline of accidental oil pollution that has taken place over the last 30 years. As far as operational oil pollution is concerned, the many innovations introduced by MARPOL on allowable discharges of bulk water through the oil-water separator, with the well-known 15 ppm standard, or oily waters from the cargo tanks through the oil discharge and monitoring system, have contributed greatly to a noticeable decrease in the pollution of the world seas, though it is fair to recognize that a greater effort to impose compliance must be carried out. Next is MARPOL Annex 2. Carriage of noxious liquid substance in bulk. MARPOL Annex 2 sets out a pollution categorization system for noxious and liquid substance. The four categories are Categories X, noxious liquid substance, which, if discharged into the sea from tank cleaning or deballasting operations, are deemed to present a major hazard to either marine resources or human health and therefore justify the prohibition of the discharge into the marine environment. Category Y. Noxious liquid substances which, if discharged into the sea from tank cleaning or deballasting operations, are deemed to present a hazard to either marine resources or human health or cause harm to amenities or other legitimate uses of the sea and therefore justify a limitation on the quality and quantity of the discharge into the marine environment. Category Z. Noxious liquid substance which, if discharged into the sea from tank cleaning or deballasting operations, are deemed to present a minor hazard to either marine resources or human health and therefore justify less stringent restrictions on the quality and quantity of the discharge into the marine environment. The other substances been evaluated and found to fall outside category X, Y, or Z because they are not considered to present no harm to marine resources, human health, amenities, or other legitimate uses of the sea when discharged into the sea from tank cleaning of deballasting operations. The discharge of ballast water or other residues or mixtures containing these substances are not subject to any requirements of MARPOL Annex 2. The Annex also includes a number of other requirements reflecting modern stripping techniques which specify discharge levels for products which have been incorporated into Annex 2. For ships constructed on or after January 1, 2007, the maximum permitted residue in the tank and its associated piping left after discharge is set at a maximum of 75 liters for products in category X, Y, and Z, compared with previous limits which set a maximum of 100 or 300 liters depending on the product category. Next, MARPOL Annex 3. Chemicals carried in package form. Chemicals which are carried in package form in solid form or in bulk are regulated by Part A of SOLAS Chapter 4. Carriage of dangerous goods, which includes provisions for the classification, packing, marking, labeling, and placarding, documentation, and stowage of dangerous goods. MARPOL Annex 3 also sets out regulations for the prevention of the pollution by harmful substances in package form and includes general requirements for the issuing of the detailed standards on packing, marking, labeling, documentation, stowage, quantity, limitations, exceptions, and notifications for preventing pollution by harmful substances. For the purpose of Annex 3, harmful substances are those identified as marine pollutants in the IMDG code. Both SOLAS and MARPOL refer to the International Maritime Dangerous Goods IMDG code, which was developed by IMO as a uniform international code for the transport of dangerous goods by sea. MARPOL Annex, and the last is MARPOL Annex 4. Prevention of pollution by sewage from ships. Sewage. The discharge of raw sewage into the sea can create a health hazard. Sewage can also lead to oxygen depletion and can be an obvious visual pollution in coastal areas, a major problem for countries with tourist industries. The main sources of human-produced sewage are land-based, such as municipal sewers or treatment plants. However, the discharge of sewage into the sea from ships also contributes to marine pollution. Annex 4 contains a set of regulations regarding the discharge of sewage into the sea from ships, including regulations regarding the ship's equipment and system for the control of sewage discharge, the provision of port reception facilities for sewage, and requirements for survey and certification. It is generally considered that on the high seas, the oceans are capable of assimilating and dealing with raw sewage through natural bacterial action. Therefore, the regulation in Annex 4 of MARPOL prohibit the discharge of sewage into the sea within a specified distance from the nearest land, unless otherwise provided. Governments are required to ensure the provision of adequate reception facilities at ports and terminals for the reception of sewage without causing delay to ships. The Annex entered into force on September 27, 2003. A revised Annex 4 was adopted on April 1, 2004 and entered into force on August 1, 2005. The revised Annex applies to ships engaged in international voyages of 400 gross tonnage and above, or which are certified to carry more than 15 persons. The Annex requires ships to be equipped with either an approved sewage treatment plant or an approved sewage comminuting and disinfecting system or a sewage holding tank. The discharge of sewage into the sea is prohibited except when the ship has in operation an approved sewage treatment plant or with the ship is discharging communicated and disinfected sewage using an approved system at a distance of more than 3 nautical miles from the nearest land. Sewage which is not comminuted or disinfected may be discharged at a distance of more than 12 nautical miles from the nearest land when the ship is en route and proceeding at not less than 4 knots. And the rate of discharge of untreated sewage shall be approved by the administration. The special areas. The most recent amendment for MARPOL Annex 4 was enforced on January 2003, wherein the Baltic Sea area has been adopted as the first special area for sewage discharge regulation. This regulation targets passenger ships, which are the major cause of sewage-related pollution at sea and the coastal water bodies. This regulation bans the discharge of untreated sewage at sea in the Baltic area region. The untreated raw sewage produced on the ship can either be treated in an STP before discharge, or the collected sewage can be transferred to the shore facility. The sewage treatment plant installed on the passenger ship, intending to discharge sewage effluent in special areas, should additionally meet the nitrogen and phosphorus removal standards when tested for its certificate of type approval by the administration.